The question comes up a lot. How do I properly light my kitchen? Well, in this video, I'm going to teach you how to illuminate your kitchen space for optimal functionality. We'll talk about all the different lighting options for your kitchen, where and how to install them so you're not dealing with glare and shadows, and how to select the correct brightness for your needs. Starting with windows. The minimum recommendation for your window size should be 8% of the total square footage of your kitchen space. For example, if your kitchen is 150 square feet, your window should be approximately 12 square feet, which gives you approximately a 3-foot by 4-foot window, which is a fairly decent size. However, my recommendation is to install the largest window possible that doesn't take away from the storage capacity of your kitchen. So if you can get away with having narrower wall cabinets, or possibly even no wall cabinets around that window, then I'd say make it wider. Not only will it allow more free sunlight into your kitchen, but it's also a very popular and trendy design feature in the modern home. Multiple windows is also a fantastic option, again, balancing out the other needs for the space. Unique window placements has also become a very popular design trend. No longer do we just have a window over a kitchen sink, but now we have a window as a backsplash, or a window over a wall cabinet, or windows taking up a whole section of wall in a kitchen. It's a very beautiful look, and again, has to be balanced against the needs for the space. So if you need more storage space, maybe the answer isn't just to put a window there, but it's something to consider if all the other parts of your kitchen are taken care of, you just want to get more light in there. Having windows in multiple places is a great idea. If you have a window above your sink, which a lot of you do, and you want to replace that and make it a little more modern looking, bringing that window all the way down to the countertop and allowing the countertop to act as the sill for that window is a very nice feature. It not only allows more light to penetrate the sink area and the countertop surrounding the sink, but it gives you more leverage if you need to open that window vertically. And possibly talk to your builder about installing a skylight or a solar tube. These are great options for your kitchen when the sun is shining down on your home to allow even more light into the kitchen space. Of course, the sun goes down and it becomes nighttime, so the rest of these lighting options are ones that you're going to have to purchase. I will have some affiliate links in my description for different lighting options. I get a small commission from these, but it doesn't affect you at all. So if you use them, thank you. The next most important light source, in my opinion, which works in tandem with the sunlight, is under cabinet lighting. Because all light will create shadows depending on where you install them, under cabinet lighting is essential for getting rid of shadows on your countertop and is commonly used for task lighting purposes. The problem is there are so many options on the market. How do you choose between the DIY options or the professional installation options? My recommendation is to have all under cabinet lighting hardwired during the construction stage of the renovation, if possible. It's a cleaner look because you don't have all these cords and wires hanging and taped up underneath your cabinets, and it frees up outlets in your kitchen for use for small appliances. One of the questions I do get asked a lot is, do I need that little molding underneath my wall cabinet or not? The light rail or deco strip or light valance molding was commonly used to hide the visibility of the light fixture. It also helps to focus light on the countertop, and it reduces glare from someone who's sitting, say, at a kitchen table or somewhere lower where that light fixture is visible. However, with the advent of LED technology, these lights have been becoming slimmer and slimmer, where that you don't actually need that molding all the time. In fact, I think the best way to install an under cabinet light is to have it installed within a channel. Now, this will be a significant upcharge, likely if you're having your cabinets custom built, and not the best solution if you're using ready to assemble cabinets. It is a really professional look for an under cabinet light. Now, whatever light you decide on, it's usually better to install that light closer to the front of the wall cabinet. And if you're using that molding, sometimes it's a great idea to angle the light slightly back on a 45-degree angle towards the wall, towards the back of the countertop to reduce the glare. But if your light has a diffuser, which many of them do, or your countertop is a matte or honed finish, then having that light at a 90-degree angle onto your countertop is a great option. You may decide on a puck light or a dot light. These are a great option as well, as they allow light to be a little more focused. The recommendation is that you space these approximately 20 inches apart, and that gives you about a 50% overlap from the beams. Puck lights provide a more focused light, and therefore they can also increase the glare, so having an overlap of the beams of the light helps to reduce the glare on your countertop. And if they have diffusers, this will help greatly as well. Now, this next lighting option is the one that will make or break your kitchen photo on Instagram. And if you haven't guessed by now, it is the pendant lights. Ooh. Pendant lights not only provide functional lighting for your kitchen, but can dictate the style and aesthetics of your space. And because of the wide variety of choices out there, these are the lights that people have the most trouble deciding on. So I just recommend that you have fun and be creative with your choices. It's your kitchen and you have to love it. Now, once you pick your beautiful pendant light, where do you install this thing? Likely it's going to go over your island or peninsula. Now, over your island, the rule of thumb is to place that light directly in the center of your island. So wherever the center point of the width and length of your island is, install that light directly above that. Its height should be approximately 30 to 36 inches off the countertop. This will usually look and feel the best in the space. Now, the amount of pendant lights you decide on depends on the size of your island or peninsula. If your island is approximately 8 feet long, then you should be using 3 pendant lights. But if your island is 12 feet long, then you can get away with 5 pendant lights. If you have a smaller island, maybe only 1 pendant light. So it really does depend on the size of your island, how many lights you're going to choose. But let's say we have an 8-foot island and we're going to use 3 pendant lights. We install the first pendant light in the center. Where do we put the other 2? My rule is after that center light is installed, the next 2 lights should be installed at the center point between that first centered light and the end of the island. So basically, if you have an island, you have lights at 1/3, 2/3, and 3/3. And then again, if you have a longer island, you would have this same process. And this isn't an exact thing. The idea is to just get equal spacing between the lights, but obviously you don't want your lights out over the end of your countertop. So use your own discretion, but use the equal spacing to get the most symmetrical look. Now, the rule of odd numbers, or the theory of odd numbers, I don't know if it's a rule or not, but it comes into play when we're choosing pendants because of this center point. But that doesn't mean you can't have 2 bigger pendants on an 8-foot island. The negative space between them sort of becomes the center point, and there's an argument there that it still kind of works, even though there's only 2. And of course, I'm assuming that your island is rectangular to some degree, so if you have an island that is an odd shape, then these rules are going to be a little bit different for you. If that's the case, I still recommend putting a light in the center of that island and then spacing out the other lights so they basically make sense with the shape of your island. Again, keeping them approximately 30 to 36 inches off the top of the countertop. Some pendant lights have multiple fixtures attached, and these can be great for smaller islands. And pendants do not need to be installed solely over an island. They can be installed over a sink, over a coffee station, anywhere in your kitchen that you think would be appropriate. Just don't hang them in front of where cabinet doors have to open for obvious reasons. And while pendant lights are really awesome and they can make or break the look of your kitchen, they may not provide ample light for task-oriented purposes on your countertop. Therefore, it's a good idea to mix lighting sources in your kitchen, and this is where the next light comes in really handy. Recessed lights or pot lights, can lights, are a great way to illuminate clearances, workspaces, and countertops in your kitchen. And modern pot lights are very easy to install because they're LED and they're very shallow. So you don't need a great big housing up in your ceiling. You only need about 3/4 of an inch and you're good to go. When you're installing recessed lighting in your kitchen for task purposes, it's a good idea to install them 12 inches from the front of the wall cabinet. This places the light directly on the countertop without creating a shadow, and it helps to illuminate the inside of the cabinet once you open the doors. If you have a section that does not have wall cabinets, only base cabinets, then install the recessed lights 12 inches from the wall. This will center the light on the countertop directly where you need it. When it comes to their placement in the ceiling in terms of distance from each other, I try to ignore any real rules. I want to have the light where I need it. So I don't want them equally spaced if it doesn't make sense because it's not where I need the light. So take this into consideration. For example, you may need a light over your pantry. So when you pull out your pullouts, you can see what's inside of them. And then you might have a light next to it where you have a section of countertop and a wall cabinet. Then maybe you have a section where there's a window, and then another section with a wall cabinet. And these 3 pot lights might not be equally spaced, and in my opinion, that's okay, because the light is placed where you need them, and that's really important in a kitchen. Because they're not pendant lights, they're less visible, you can get away with not having them equally spaced, because they're very task-oriented lights. Now, they don't have to be recessed. You can also get flush-mounted lights which gives you more of a decorative feature. They're attached directly flush with the ceiling, but they can come down almost 18 inches and still be considered a flush mount light. So these lights you probably should space equally apart because they are very visual, but most people, I'm assuming, are going to use a recessed light. So if that's the case, put the light where you need it and enjoy your kitchen. Now, all this talk about lighting the outside of your cabinets leads us to the next source of light, which is the inside of your cabinets. Wouldn't it be nice to open up that pantry or open up that cabinet and you could just see everything glowing in there? Inner cabinet lighting has become increasingly popular over the last few years. And we've been lighting up inside of cabinets for a long, long time, but usually it's more intentional inside a cabinet that has a glass door. But now the real trend is to light up those cabinets so that when you open the door, the light turns on, you can see everything that's in there very easily. You shut the door or drawer and that light turns off. These can be hardwired or battery operated. I do suggest that you have them hardwired so that everything is connected properly. You don't have to go changing batteries. And they can be installed on a switch or on a motion sensor that when you open the door, the thing turns on, you close the door, the thing turns off. Why would I even need a light inside of my cabinet? But you've had a light inside of your fridge forever. No one's ever mentioned that. It's just because the fridge already has power to it. They put a light in there because it's a great big cabinet. Well, your pantry's a great big cabinet too, so why not put a light inside of there? These lights can be installed on channels, they can be puck lights, they can be LED strips. There's lots of options for in-cabinet lighting, but it's something you should explore if you're renovating your kitchen and you want to just bring some brightness to that deep, dark corner base that I love, and you want to see what's inside there. And you might think that lighting the inside of your cabinets is overkill. Maybe you're right, maybe you're wrong. But you can never go wrong with having too many lights. My motto with lighting your kitchen is you can always turn them off. But if they're not there, you can never turn them on. So why not invest in having as much light as possible, and then they're there if you need them. That's really sound advice. Not all light needs to be for task purposes. Maybe you just want some ambient light in your kitchen. There's two great ways to provide actually three great ways. There's three great ways to provide ambient light in your kitchen. On your toe kick, under the lip of your countertop, and on top of your wall cabinets. I mean, all three would just be an ambient bliss. I don't know, it might be overkill, but adding lights to one of these three places can be a great spot to just bring some beautiful atmosphere to your kitchen. Just be aware that if you're adding toe kick lights, you're likely gonna be seeing all the dust on your floor, so just be aware of that. Okay, let's talk about sconces for a minute, because that seems just to be the real trend when you're looking at kitchen pictures. There's sconces everywhere. So let's address it. Sconces have been around for a long, long time. They're nothing new. But as a kitchen trend, they are relatively new in the past number of years. Sconces not only provide light, but they draw attention. So make sure you're choosing a sconce light that you love and you want to show off. These lights come in two varieties, a downlight and an uplight. Obviously, the downlight is shining on your countertop, and the uplight is shining towards the ceiling. And you can also get them where they're both. If you choose a downlight sconce that is shining on your countertop, make sure that you install it a little bit lower so that you're not getting a glare from under the lamp. And if you're installing an uplight, these can be installed a little bit higher. There's no real rule of thumb on the distance where the sconce should be placed. It has to work with the actual light that you have. So if you have a sconce that's just on the wall pointing down or up, that would be installed at a different height than a sconce that had a big arm on it that you could actually move. So take that into consideration, but also consider the fact that not everyone in your household might be the same height, and so the sconce can cause problems for some people and not problems for other people. So the uplight tends to be a better choice functionally, but usually the downlight is a little more of a trendy look. So just take that advice with a grain of salt. Install the light at the height that is the most appropriate for your home and for the look you're going for, but just be aware of the glare from the bulb. And in recent years, people have been putting lamps in their kitchen, but lamps in your kitchen is strictly a trendy design choice. It really isn't for task purposes. It's definitely for ambiance and for aesthetics. So pick a beautiful lamp, dust it often, and enjoy. Now we have our kitchen fully lit, but there's a couple things I want to mention that are really, really important when it comes to installing lights. The number one thing is dimmers. Everything should be on a dimmer. Make sure you get a dimmable light and put a dimmer switch, and that way you have ultimate control of the light in your kitchen. And why wouldn't you want to have that? You can have those puppies on full blast all the time, or turn them all down nice and low so that it creates a nice atmosphere, but at least you can decide. Color, temperature, and brightness is also something that we rarely think about when we're choosing kitchen lights. Normally when we look at a light bulb, we just want a 100-watt light bulb, or a 60-watt light bulb, or a 40-watt light bulb. Lights have different temperatures measured in kelvins. So if you want a warm yellowish light, which can be very nice for mood or ambiance, then you want to have a light that has a Kelvin temperature from around 2500 to 3000. But if you want something that's more daylight or bright task-orientated light, then a Kelvin of around 4000 to 5000 would be the range you're looking at. And it's okay to have a mixture of these lights in your kitchen because all the lights aren't usually on at all times. If you want ambient light after supper, for the evening, you turn on your toe kick lights, it has a nice warm glow. But if you want to chop your carrots on your countertop, then having something that's nice and bright and cooler is going to give you the most benefit. It's also important to think about the brightness of the light in terms of foot candles. Yes, foot candles. Foot candles is a measure of the light's brightness, and it should be around 50 foot candles for most people. But as you get older, your eyes respond to light differently and the light needs to become brighter. And so if you are in the aging range of population, say 50 and over, you may need a light that has more foot candles, say 100. Just a small detail, but something you should be asking your electrician or your interior designer about. So not only do you have your under cabinet lights and your pot lights and your pendant lights and your lamp, you also want to make sure the actual bulbs give enough light that you can see still what you're doing. If you want further help with lighting your kitchen or anything to do with making your kitchen more functional, there is a link in the description below for a one-on-one consultation where we get into the weeds about your specific kitchen and your needs so that you can have the best possible outcome for your kitchen renovation. Now, there's other factors to take into consideration when lighting your kitchen. Your countertop color, your cabinet color, the sheen of everything, your flooring, your wall color. There's a lot of things happening in a kitchen. So if you want to hear why I think white kitchens are more functional, check out this video and we'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.